Eddin has officially been fired from the Rory and Mal podcast? Now, you need to stay tuned to the end of this video to see that Eddin likely has done his last podcast for Rory and Mal. Now, a lot of you might not be aware, but there's been a recent controversy that the Rory and Mal podcast has found itself in. Ever since Julian got the hands laid on him by Eddin, many have been wondering, would Eddin be able to come back to the show? But it seems like we got our answer. For those of you that don't know, a little bit ago, after the Rory and Mal holiday Christmas party, it seemed like Julian and Eddin were outside having the time of their lives. But the time of their lives quickly turned controversial when Eddin began to swing on Julian, a producer for the Rory and Mal podcast. Well, after that, the whole podcast would do a show together and make light of what seemed like a serious situation. Rory was joking about it, Julian was joking about it. The only person who seemed uncomfortable was Damaris, who thought it was quite odd. And I have to say, as a watcher of that episode, Eddin didn't seem like he was too apologetic. Well, now we seem to have headed to a conclusion with the evidence that I am about to present. A little bit ago, Eddin went on the Rory and Mal Discord and said, "Gotta step out of this, but appreciate every single one of y'all for the love. Big shouts out to blank and blank for making the Discord happen in its full effect. Make sure y'all do the best for yourselves in 2024. Now, why is Eddin leaving the official show's Discord? I think it's pretty clear that Eddin is no longer on the Rory and Mal podcast. And to be truthful, he probably shouldn't be on the podcast. Not just because he hit Julian, but he also wasn't very apologetic and seemed like he would do nothing different if given a chance. Now, I loved Eddin as a producer and thought he was a fun podcaster. Definitely a better podcaster than Ice. And it's going to be sad to see him go, but ultimately, he was replaceable. And Julian was higher on the hierarchy than him. And for Eddin to have had no remorse, it just looked like his time was up. But let me know what you think in the comments. Who is to blame for all of this? A lot of people want to throw Rory and Mal under the bus for making this about content, but ultimately, Eddin is the one that decided to swing his hands. And in most workplaces, if you swing on somebody, you're usually gone. Like, you could curse somebody out, you could talk crazy about somebody, but when punches are thrown, that's when you gotta go. Now, let's look ahead as to what this means for Rory and Mal. This couldn't have happened at a worse time, as now they are transitioning into being fully independent, and this means that they will have to look for a new producer. But producers are not that hard to find, especially for a podcast that has some visibility to it. And if this doesn't go right, this could be the podcast we look at and be like, man, Rory and Mal, this was really the beginning of the end. So they have to watch what they do. And I kind of feel bad because I'm someone who was on this platform saying that Rory and Mal need to make things content and they need to make sure they entertain their audience. And I think in doing so this time, they made a big mistake. But I can't say that if I was there, I would have stopped them. As you know me, I'm always for the content. But let me know what you think in the comments. I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, Rory and Mal don't have it, nobody cares. Well, Rory and Mal isn't the biggest podcast out there, but they do have an audience and people care about them. So this is very notable to a lot of people out there. And man, any podcast where somebody swings on somebody, oh boy, you know that's a big deal. And hey, I wouldn't be me if I didn't factor in what Joe Budden might say about all of this. We all know he loves to comment on people in turmoil. But he did say he turned over a new leaf and he will no longer be engaging in beefs with other podcasters. But this is too juicy. I think Joe is too messy and he's probably going to make a joke about this. We will see. But let me know what you think in the comments. Will Joe make a joke about this? Will Joe say, hey, come over here if you don't want to be punched on your podcast? But I don't know. Rory and Mal got the ammunition, especially because Joe's house isn't too clean with what happened with Olivia Dope and other situations on the podcast. Alright, y'all, that's my video for today. This is the sad tale of content over everything gone wrong. I I want to end by shouting out Eddin. He has done nothing but show love to my platform. I want to end by shouting out everybody at the Rory Mal podcast, the Rory Mal fans. This is tough, but hey, man, this is real life, and this is what happens. Hopefully, Eddin got something planned. He is somebody with a lot of experience on his resume, and he's a talented individual, and I think his next move will be his best move. All right, y'all, follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.